Okay, guys, so we are almost done with our reports. We have our controls in here. We have our select account in here. We have our statement. We have our asset equity. We have our balance check, and then we have our spark line. Okay. Now you remember over here for the account, we said when you switch this to income statement, you have income statement lines over here. You can also select from, right? And that highlights this perfectly over here, right? The income statement you selected also affects this. Now, one thing we missed out, or I missed out basically in the select account feature, right, was when you select trial balance, okay, you don't have an option because in the formula, I didn't state what you get if you select trial balance. So let's come back here, okay, and then over here, you see we have a cow error because the formula says you should do a filter of this if the statement is trial balance. And you know we don't have a trial balance statement in the options. We only have balance sheet and income statement. So I'm just going to wrap this around an if error. Let me say if error, right? And then I'm going to bring comma and say if error, what I want you to give me is you basically give us a unique of all the names. So I'm going to select all the names. Now I can drag this all the way down. I don't know how long it's going to be. So I'm just going to do this maybe 10,000 or 1,000, something like this. And then I'll close this sort, press enter. Good. So we get this. Now you realize that we have an empty space over here. So if I want to trim that empty space out, because of Excel's new trim range feature or architecture, you can just put a dot here, right, and press enter. And then that takes that empty spaces out. Okay, so with that done, right, with that figured out, when we come back to our statement, right, now in select trial balance, we have all the accounts. You get it? So everything will show over here. So I can select something like the salaries, and then salaries will be selected. Do you see that? Good. I can select something that is income statement related like this, and that's selected. Or I can select a balance sheet line, and that's selected because in the trial balance, both of them would feature. Good. So now we have that in place. Now what we want to do is that make sure that when we select something in the controls, that's like we select year or month, it should affect our statement. Currently, it doesn't necessarily affect the statement. When I select 2016, okay, it doesn't affect the statement. You get it? Because these controls are not connected to them. Now, how do we do this? How do we let the controls affect all the statements? So if you right click on a particular one and you come to report control, right? You see over here the statement that what it affects. So currently, this guy affects pivot table 2. Do you get it? Good. Now, when you select year and you come to report controls, okay. Now, because this is coming from the data model, it shows you all the pivot tables that are affected by the data model. You see that's good. Now, like we did for the dashboard, we also want to name all the other pivot tables so that we know which ones we are connecting to and which ones we are not. Is that okay? Good. So we are going to do this. We'll come to statement calculations. Is that okay? We'll come over here. Then we'll come to pivot table, analyze. I'm going to call this ST revenue. That's statement revenue because we have a total revenue already, right? Good. We'll come here, go to analyze. Call this ST, and then we'll call this expense. Okay, come here, ST assets, and then we'll call this ST equity and liability. Okay, now here we're going to call this pivot table ST accounts. This will come to the statement. So income statement over here. Come to pivot table analyze. Name. We're going to call this income monthly collapse. Is that okay? And then this is going to be monthly expand. Monthly expand. Okay. Pivot table analyze. Come here. This is going to be year to date. Collapse. And then we come here. Go to analyze. Year to date. Expand. Right. Using for balance sheet as well. First one, which is this guy. Call this balance sheets monthly. And then we're going to call this what? Collapse. Come here. Paste this over here. This monthly expand. I'll copy that. Go to analyze. Paste this. Change this to YTD. And then this is YTD collapse. Go to analyze. Name. This is Control V. This is YTD. And then expand. And the last one is our trial balance. Just call it trial. Like I mentioned earlier, pivot table names take spaces, so you can put spaces in there. Good. Now that we have that in place, we can now comfortably right-click on this, come to report connection, okay, and then we can see how each pivot table is named. Do you get it? So now it becomes easy for us to link them. So you obviously want to link this to all these balance sheet reports, income statement reports as well. We're going to link them to all of them. We're not linking it to pivot table, these pivot tables, and that's it, a pivot table, right? So calculation statement, pivot table 1, pivot table 5. I don't remember seeing these two, but let's link it to these as well. Trial balance, good. Click OK. So now it's linked to all these statements. Okay, let's come here to statement calculation. I can't find pivot table 1 and pivot table 5. Oh, okay. So I did a mistake if I named this ST revenue instead of this ST revenue. Okay. And then I'm believing this might be 5. Oh, okay. This one I didn't name this. So this is ST trial balance. Okay. So those also have to be connected. So report connections. Increase this. This guy and this guy as well. Click OK. Very good. So if I select 2025, I should see the 25 version of this report. Good. So they see this updates, these updates. When I select 2026, I should see 2026 version of the report. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, good. Now monthly and then year TD work. Good. All right. Okay. Now let's do the same for the month name. Report connection. Good. So for report connection, we also want to connect this to all of these. So monthly, year to date, good. Select accounts. Now for select account, in select account, we have a month column or a month field in there. So I'm not going to connect this. I'm going to connect it to the other ones. Okay. I'm going to connect this. Let's keep it going. Good. So what I mean is over here, we have a month field in here. You get it? That's already filtering the reports by month. So there's no need to add another month filtering. Okay, so now if I select January, I should see only for January. Good. You see, when I add February, I should see January and February. That's the expanded version. Good. Now when I select collapse, it should give me the collapse version. Good. Expanded should give me the expanded version. Good. Okay, so now we are almost there. Now, what you can see over here is that we have some issues with our measure. You get it for January, February are giving us the same thing for YTD. To create a measure that will make sure that the month February doesn't show, we'll come to Power Pivot, come to Measures, Manage Measures, take the existing one, which is this. I'm just going to copy this guy, okay? And then I'm going to close, and I'm going to create a new one. Okay, now this measure, I'm going to call this, let's say special measure or SP. Okay, and then cumulative. So CA without write-off. Okay, and I'm going to paste this over here. Good. Now this is the existing one. This is the cumulative one. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that if the date, okay, is beyond the transaction date, it should not show, right? It's a very simple logic that says that if the date, okay, in question goes beyond the cumulative date, we don't want it to show. Now, to do this, we need to create some more variables. So we're going to create the first variable. We're going to say var, okay, what's the last date in the data? So we're going to call this last data date. And this is going to be equal to calculate, okay, calculate max, good, calendar date. Good. And then the reason why we're using calculate and not just the max is because we want to make sure no filter is affecting our calculation to get the last date in the data. It's very important that we know the exact last date in the data so that everything after that date is not shown. You get it? Good. Now we are going to compare that last date of the data to the selected date. You get it? Good. So if the selected date is beyond the last date of the data, do you get it? Then it should not show. But we know that the selected date gives us the maximum date in the calendar. So if you select January, the maximum date is 31st December. Do you get it? And the 31st December might be greater than the last date in the data. Meanwhile, that last date might also be in January. So maybe we can have a transaction that happened on 12 January. If you compare 12 January to what 31st December, 31st January, this one was going to be less. So it's going to exclude the January transactions. So what we need to do is to take the first day of the month instead of the last day. So I'm going to click this over here. I'm going to say var. Okay. I'm going to say first selected day. Do you get it? Now I'm going to use EOMAN. Take the selected day. And I'm going to use -1 to go to the previous month and add one to it to come to the first day of the current month. Good. So now this is a safer way to do this. I can say if, okay. Now what I'm going to say is a simple if, right? If the last date, okay, I think I'm missing something here. So EU month, blah, 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 gives me this. Okay, it's a calculate. No calculations. Okay, good. Now, so if last date last data date is less than the first select date. Good. Then give me an automatic blank. Else give me my calculation. Is that okay? Let's check this formula. Good. I'm missing something here. Oh, I made a mistake here. So this is the last date in the transaction, not in the calendar table. So GL, transaction data. Good. Now let's check this. Okay. Okay. Close the function. Calculates. Check. Good. 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 So actually that didn't help me spot that. Okay. Let's close this. Okay. So this guy is going to help us. So instead of using cumulative amount write-off for the ones that have multiple months, we're going to use this special guy. So let's test him out. Let's click close. It's loading. Come to income statement. And over here, the expand version, we're going to take this guy off. And then we're going to bring this special one. Good. And then gives us what? Only January. Do you get it? Gives us what? Only January. Good. Now, the same issue affects the balance sheet as well. If you come to balance sheet, right, you see we're having January and February when February doesn't apply. So I'm going to come here to measures, manage measure. I'll edit this by copying it. Do you see this? I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to create a new measure, right? So I'm going to call this SPCA. This without write-off. This with write-off. Good. Now this guy, the only difference here is instead of using this variable or this measure, we're going to use sum amount. GL, not account, amount. Okay. Number, whole number. Good. Close. Okay, so we'll take this guy off and then we put our SPC over there. Good. Good, 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 good. Now we have something that actually works. Okay, so now if we come here and we select 2026, expanded, because we have only January data, you see that what only January pops up. 2025, we'll have what January and February. Good. Also, I don't like this where we have our total showing over here. This is coming from um the pivot table, right? The total is in this. We need to take it off and we also need to change these row labels. So we'll come here to income statement. I'm going to call this accounts. Okay. So do that over here. So accounts. Let me just copy this. Come here. Paste this. Come here. Control A, Control V. And let's take off this total. So you don't need the total at the column side. If you want to keep it, that's fine, but I don't want it. Good. So total should only be on the columns, not on the row. Good. So that's gone. Let's do that in the balance sheet as well. So I'll paste accounts here. I'll paste accounts here. You need to double click in there, select all, and then paste over it, right? Double click, select all, paste over it. Good. We don't have any totals here, I believe. Okay, good. Now try balance, I'll do the same thing here. And then let's also make this debits. And let's make this credits. Good. Okay. Okay, so we come here. And then now what we're going to do is simple. You see that when you select monthly, we have this. When we select year to date, it sums up, give me cumulative. Do you see that? 2025. Good. Now when you select 2026, okay, it's only going to give you January. Now the only issue is that this January is including 2025's values, which it shouldn't. Is that okay? So we need to tweak our formula yet again. but that's only for the income statement. For the balance sheet, we want it to actually cumulate. Is that okay? So we'll come here to measures, manage. Okay. So the ones that are income statement measures are the ones without write-off. So I'll click this, click edit. Okay. All I need to do is use a function called total year to date, like this. Okay. And I'll bring the calendar table. That's what it should use to create a filter for the total year to date. Click check. This works nice. Click OK. We'll do the same thing for XP. Edit. Here. Type in total. Say year to date. Let's say your calendar. Close bracket. Okay. Close. Good. So now I'm expecting this to only show me what happened in 2026. Fantastic. So this is what happened in 2026. Good. When I select 2025, you'll give me the values for 2025. 2025. Let's select all. So clear filter. Good. So there's everything. Do you see that? Fantastic. So this is working nicely. One more thing is when you look at our revenue expenses, right? Revenue minus this, 400 minus 100, you're getting 500. Okay. If you come to our calculations, there was one more thing we missed over here. So we said this minus this, but an expenses were negative. So it's either we make this absolute. So let's say this ABS, because remember our expenses are all negative. So make it absolute. So it applies. So when you come here, then this matches this. Wonderful. Right? Good. So if you highlight all of this, 276,905, you get 276,905. Great. So guys, I believe we are done, right? I think we're only left with a name. I can highlight this, come to home. Okay, I'm going to merge this, set this to a font, let's say 36. Let me see if I type over here what it will look like. Pharma Plus. Good. So this is the company's name, Pharma Plus company. Copy it. I'll come here, paste this here, merge some cells like this. Merge. Good. So we have this Pharma Plus. Let me reduce this. Good. You can bring in your logo in here. I'll drag this down a bit. You can bring your logo in here. So you have your logo and then any other details you want to add. I'm going to hide these rows or these columns. Okay, so I'll press highlight everything and I'll press Control 0. That hides everything nicely. Good. And then if you want to hide the rows, Control Shift down and you press Control 9. Good. And that gives you something sleek like this. Fantastic. Statements, we will do the same thing over here. Select all the way to the end, Control 0. Good. And then select all the way to the bottom, Control 9. Good. Then we have something like this. Fantastic. So we can select and change this to balance sheets. Fantastic. This one, it balances nicely. Trial balance. We have our trial balance, which is what balancing nicely. Good. So guys, we are done. In the next video, what we're going to do is going to test this out. We're going to enter data into our app, and then we're going to see if it will flow in. So thank you for joining and see you in the next video. Bye, guys.